check us.
So you don't need to clear through the control center, or we do? This is just the control center of the prison. They control the doors, the keys, all the security. I'll hold it. These are all different parts of the prison operations. That door labeled J1 150 is the entrance to the death house. So that's where we'll be going.
Do the inmates go in these doors?
The inmates are all taken in through a different part of the prison, and you mean the actual
the person
executed inmate? No, they come in through a different part of the prison. There's a back entrance.
Okay.
But this here is a ramp for disabled visitors who are serving as witnesses. So any victim's family, media outlet, or offender's family who was going to witness would use this ramp to get into the death house. Thank you. This is going to be a tight fit. We'll go in here into the I'll explain what this room is. If we can all get in, and I'll try to stand where. Again, you'll be able to get footage individually. This is the witness area. It's a small area, as you can see. Witnesses are limited to 3 on the victim's side, named by the immediate family member of the victim, and 3 on the offender's side, named by the offender. Some offenders elect to have no witnesses. That's at their discretion. There's also generally about 6 media outlets who are in this area. When the execution takes place, the media are escorted into this room first. They stand along the back wall. This door remains open so that the media can walk back and forth between the 2 rooms and be able to see both the inmate and the victim's family as the execution occurs. The victims are escorted over to the witness area next after the media are in place. They remain on the opposite side of this wall. So the victim's family sits on the opposite side of this wall. And the offender's family comes in last, and they sit in these 3 chairs here. There are times when we have had to open an ancillary viewing area because the offender may have had more victims. And so where there's multiple victims and we can't fit them all in the viewing area here, we open an ancillary viewing area, and it's viewed on closed caption television. You'll see up here monitors. These monitors are used for the witnesses to be able to witness the insertion of the IV lines in the inmate. The insertion of the IV lines are done in the holding cell. It's part of the preparation process. And so these screens come on as that process is started, as the preparation are started, and they remain on while the IV lines are inserted into the inmate. Okay? And we'll come back into this area if you'd like to see more of it. Any questions about the viewing issues?
Is it one-way class?
No, it is not one way.
Is there security in here while that?
There is a staff person who stands security in here. Yes, absolutely. And the inmate can see. Now you'll see that the inmate's head is at the top of the bed. You can see the bed's at an incline. The inmate's head is at the top of the bed. So obviously it's much easier for him to view his family, but he is able to turn his head to view the victim's family if he chooses. The time, that clock on the back wall is the clock that's used to officially time the execution procedures. And we'll talk more about that when we get into there. Okay? All right.
Sure.
So this door, media outlets never cross except for on these organized media days. Everything that happens with the offender happens behind this door. This station here is a computer station. I'll let everyone in here.
Scoot down.
Larry,
What did you say about what did you say about what happened with the offender here?
it all happens behind this door. The offender arrives here at the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility approximately 24 hours before his scheduled execution. Executions are carried out at 10 a.m. On the scheduled date of execution in Ohio. So generally, they get here between 9:30 and 10 the day prior. They're transferred down, usually from the Ohio State Penitentiary, which is where our male death row is housed. There are currently 166 inmates on death row in Ohio, and one of those is a woman. Once the inmate arrives here at the death house, he's processed in and he's under constant observation by at least 3 members of the execution team the entire time he's here. One member of the execution team sits at this computer terminal and logs the inmate's actions and behaviors that occur with the inmate while he's here. So they log everything from any changes in mood to any visitors he has, any meals served to him, any medical evaluations that occur with him. It's all logged, and you may have seen it. It's posted in an execution timeline that is then released as a public record after the execution is carried out. The inmate is housed in this holding cell. This is where he remains the entire 24 hours that he's here. His meals are served here. As you can see, it's simply a bed, restroom facilities. There is a television there, radio, and he is permitted to have a holy book of his choosing. When he first arrives here, his property is inventoried. He's permitted to have certain limited items in the cell with him. He's permitted to have access to certain other limited items that would remain here. Any other property that's taken from him, he has the opportunity to tell us what he would like done with that property upon the execution being carried out, whether he would like it destroyed, turned over to family, or that type of thing. He receives a mental health assessment when he arrives here. He also receives a medical assessment. While he's here, the 24 hours he is here, there are at least 3 vein assessments done on the offender. That's both a hands-on vein assessment as well as a file check of his records to determine if there are any foreseeable circumstances that could cause difficulty in inserting an IV line.
What medical training do the people that do that have?
They are medically qualified people. They're not necessarily members of the execution team. They're from the medical staff. So those occur here on site in the holding cell. Those are done upon his arrival, later that evening that he arrived, and then in the morning before 9 o'clock. If they believe there may be a foreseeable problem with gaining IV access, they discuss that issue and try to determine what actions they should take to deal with that issue. This is also the time upon his arrival that he discusses and makes the staff aware of in writing how he would like his body disposed of, what his wishes are in that regards. He makes his special meal request. Special meals are served at 4 p.m. the day of his arrival. That's the day prior to his execution. And he's granted special meal requests that are reasonable and things that we can obtain. Generally, most of the food is food that we have here in the prison kitchen. We do not buy private meals from restaurants and those type of things. It's all prepared here in our kitchens.